Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. Friday's over. You know what that means? It's the weekend for you guys. Not everybody. Oh, sorry, Deborah. Is Deborah here? Deborah, don't worry. It's not your vacation is not over yet. You still have time for vacation left. You can go rob a bank or still get arrested. You still have time. And the courts are open on Monday. So this weekend is an okay weekend to get arrested. I'll let you know when it's not a good weekend to get arrested. Trust that. So I want to start first off by thanking the chat. So everybody who comes in the chat, it's easy to just pop this video on your TV or your phone and do dishes, play with a cat, cross stitch, whatever. Um, but you guys get into chat and you guys talk to each other and you guys make every single video, even the stupid ones, amazing. And it's so funny and I appreciate it. I just appreciate the chat so much. Like when I'm getting content, I already know what Maiko is gonna say. Maiko is gonna say, "Ha." I already know what Fozzie's gonna say. "Oh, she's going to poop." I already know what Linus is gonna say. For real, for real. Carolyn's gonna say something about llama. Lori is still thinking about her husband, her new husband. But listen, see? Some of you are gonna complain about something, but that's okay. We love you too. Kelly is going to give us the facts. Straight up, nothing but the facts. And I see, even I did it. I see a couple of people argue with her sometimes, like, no, the War of 1812 really started in 1912. Guys, it's never, you never are going to win. Don't do it. She slaps you down every single time you argue with Kelly. She slaps you down because she knows. I don't argue with Kelly ever. She could tell me right now that it's 4:30 p.m. and I'd be like, "Yep, bet I'm going to work. I'm going to work." And then Andrea with her aloha that makes us think about Hawaii. Oh, no, it's the chat is great. So next I want to talk about my mods. We don't have jerks in our chat. We don't have, well, there's that one, two, three. Anyway, they're fine. They're not really bad. We don't have jerks in our chat. We have nice people talking about nice things. Yeah, we make fun of some people sometimes, but it's comedy. It's all in fun. It's all comedy. Um, that's because the mods are great. Like once somebody starts going down that road, boop, they without you guys even noticing, boop, they're right on it all the time. And not only that, they keep the chat going too. When when it dies down, they throw in what they need to throw in, and they keep you guys together. They're the glue. They keep you together. But I do have to talk about Fozzie. I have to, guys. It's not Donald. I don't know if you're here, but when you watch this later, you're gonna be like Fozzie's the golden child or whatever. But he does so much work, you guys. You guys, he does so much work for this freaking channel. Like he's always making me do something I don't want to do, and I just do it. He says do this, I do it immediately if I can. Oh no, I forgot to grab the next outro. Oh, Fozzie's gonna be mad at me. But I mean, he keeps texting me when something happens, like on another channel. Hey, Fleischer's in this channel. You better hop in and say hi. Or hey, this person just said this. You should say something, even though I usually always do. But he's on it, and I'm sorry, Sarah. Sarah. he does a lot of work, and I really appreciate it. And I don't know how to thank him because, I had no idea what I was doing when I started doing this, obviously. Oh my gosh. My first ones were bad. Not that these are better, but I got a groovy background. So, and that was Fozzie. I didn't have a camera. I didn't want a camera at all. He sent me a camera and I just didn't even argue. I just hooked up the freaking camera. And that's the worst part of my stream. The worst part of my stream is that freaking light is blaring in my freaking eyes the whole time. And when I'm sleepy, which I get sometimes, that freaking light makes it hard to keep my eyes open during the stream. So you see me sitting here going, because of that freaking light. This is what I want it to look like. Yeah, that's much better. Isn't that much better? I Oh yeah, Carolyn, you're right. CJ, you're right. Discord, I had like I don't even think I had Discord. Did I have a Discord? I didn't have a Discord. Fozzie made me make a Discord, and then I had like one channel, and he's like, "Just give me mod." I'm like, "Go for it, go for it." He just tells me. He says, I try, but when I do that, it doesn't pick up the background right." So I don't know. Well, I'm Irish, so I am red. I'm either pale, pale, pale porcelain or red. That's what happens when you're Irish. You just get red. But see, Barb, that's what I want to. I used to do my streams just talking, and I could. My feet were up. I could sit back. I'm in my PJs, hair not done, no eyeshadow on. But thanks, Fozzie. Forget it. No, I'm not calling him out now. He made me put a camera on. Now I have to do all this crap. Thank you, Fozzie. I appreciate it. I really do. Okay, let's get some court done. So we're only going to one courtroom today and then Judge Fleischer. But that's because I have makeup on, Kelly. I'm red. I'm very, very, very red. Yep. I've never tanned in my life. I get lobstery, white or lobstery. When I was married, my husband used to tell me to put clothes on at night because he couldn't go to sleep. It was so bright. I was white. White. Oh my. All right, here we go. Barbie was rude for many other reasons than that. But if I don't put a court video on, I'm gonna get comments like crazy in a second. Okay. So we don't ever see there's two defendants. We don't ever see the defendants in this case. Placement. It's a child placement case. Thank goodness. But it is a train wreck. Like a complete train wreck. And this lawyer, I mean, I have never seen a lawyer except for maybe Chrysanthou as thorough as this lawyer. I, she just keeps calling people out of thin air. It's a wonder she doesn't have someone come up and say the father wore the same underwear 2 days in a row because she got everything. And it keeps getting worse. Every person that she brings up keeps getting worse and worse. And you think we're in a criminal trial. No, we're not. None of this is a criminal trial, guys. None of it. Here we go.
Okay, it's 11 o'clock.
Texas, of course. Oh, wait.
I will call Randall County case cause number 83573L2. In the interest of the O'Brien child, we're here today on a final hearing. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the child. Mr. Taylor is with us representing the mother, Miss Oakley. She's not in my waiting room. Mr. Taylor, were you expecting her?
I do not know, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. O'Brien is not in the waiting room, nor is Miss Archer might be. There's a phone line in here, and I think it seems to me that might be her. I'm going to bring the phone number in, see who it is.
And that might be my officer, Judge.
Oh, okay. All right, this is Judge Graham. I've let someone into the O'Brien final hearing on a phone line ending in 818.
Just so you know, normally we have the audio that's sucky, but the video is fine. Woo-hoo, this courtroom is reversed. So the audio is fine, except every once in a while you'll hear a crackle or something and it'll skip. And that makes the video off. The audio is pretty much solid the whole way through, but the video is off. So I went in and I tried to, like, every 5 minutes or so, fix the video, bring the video back to match the audio. So they separate a lot during this. The video just crackles or something, whatever. I don't know. But if you see them talking and the video is and you hear nothing, it'll be fixed in a few minutes. It's just every 5 minutes I fixed it to try to keep it on track.
If you'd unmute and tell me who you are, please.
And that might be my officer, Judge.
I'm getting feedback from somebody. Looks to me
Haley,
like
can you mute Erin Sessions? She may be away from her desk.
This is Officer Cole.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. All right, then, Haley, I guess if you would try to get a hold of Miss Archer and see where she is. Okay, Ms. Wiggins, is he your first witness?
He will be my first witness, Judge, yes.
Okay, what's his name?
Andrew Cole.
Okay, Officer Cole, we're just trying to find another lawyer to get into this hearing, and we'll get with you just as quickly as we can.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can just stay right where you're at. I don't think this should take long.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
That sounds amazing.
There she is. Okay, Miss Archer's joined us. Miss Archer, Mr. O'Brien is not in the waiting room. Were you expecting him?
No, Judge, I haven't been able to reach him.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, that's let me just go down the list real quick. I know we've got Aaron Strobel, Andrew Van Vickle, Nick. I'm getting feedback. Somebody must be listening. Either their volume's too high or they're listening on YouTube. I can't tell who that is. Let me go on. Aaron Strobel, Andrew Van Vickle, Nick Grant, Rachel Peoples, Tiffany Brown, and Raphael Quiles, Quiles.
Judge, Tiffany Brown is my worker.
Okay.
And then all those other witnesses are witnesses.
I need to go outside every 2 hours too.
Okay, Ms. Brown is with us, and Ms. Wiggins, you may call your first witness.
Thank you, Judge. We call Officer Andrew Cole.
Okay. Officer Cole, would you please raise your right hand? You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Ms. Wiggins.
Thank you, Judge. Officer Cole, how are you currently employed?
I work for the Amarillo Police Department.
And are you a certified police officer?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you working in that capacity on July 13th of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
And on that night, were you dispatched to a location about 1:30 a.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
And why were you dispatched to that location?
We were dispatched to a physical fight.
Okay, when you arrived, who did you make contact with?
I spoke with Stacy.
Okay. And did she indicate whether or not she was involved in the reason for the call out?
Yes, ma'am, she was.
And how did she appear at that time when you were talking to her?
I believe that she was crying. She was physically upset, and I observed her to have blood running down her leg.
And was the assault that you were dispatched to happen in close proximity to when you arrived?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you feel that she was under the excitement of the event still?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you indicated that she had blood running down her leg. Did she indicate how that happened?
Yes, ma'am. She told me that she was kicked in the stomach.
Did she mention whether or not she was pregnant at the time?
Yes, ma'am. She told me that she was approximately 1 month pregnant.
And did she indicate who had assaulted her?
Yes, ma'am. She stated that it was Devin.
Okay, did she give a last name?
Yes, ma'am. She stated it was O'Brien.
And did she indicate if he assaulted her in any other way that night?
Yes, ma'am.
What did she state?
When AMS arrived, she made statements to them that Devin had sexually assaulted her.
And did that happen on the same night and the same current or same time of events that he had assaulted her by kicking her in the stomach?
Yes, ma'am.
And in regards to the case, did she indicate where they were living or if they were residing together?
Yes, ma'am. She stated that they were living in a tent in an empty field.
And was that up in Potter County?
Yes, ma'am.
And at the time, did that location appear suitable for any type of child that could live in that situation?
No, ma'am.
Now, in regards to the situation, was there an arrest made that night?
Yes, ma'am.
And who was arrested?
Devin O'Brien was arrested.
And what was he arrested for?
He was arrested for assault on a pregnant person.
Now, did he communicate with you at all during that night?
Yes, ma'am, very briefly.
Okay. What did he state to you?
When I arrested him, he told me that he did not assault Stacy.
And based on the information you received from Stacy and the physical condition that she was in, did you believe that an assault had occurred?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you believe for her safety and the safety of others that it was necessary to arrest?
Maybe assault occurred. Maybe it didn't, Chris. Hold on. Hold on. She's not an angel at all.
In that night?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right. Officer Cole, did Stacy have a last name?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
Can I review my report? I
Sure.
did not read that a minute ago. Christopher.
Stacy Christopher.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, then, Mr. Taylor, questions?
No question, John.
All right, Ms. Archer,
No questions.
Mr. Ingram.
No questions.
All right, anything further of Officer Cole?
No, Your Honor. We ask that he be excused.
All right, if there's no objections, then Officer Cole, I'll go ahead and remove you so you can go about your afternoon's business. Thank you for your testimony and thank you for your service.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, on to the next dumpster fire.
All right, Ms. Wiggins, your next witness.
Thank you, Judge. I call Detective Raphael Quillis. I think I've been told how to say it and I don't remember how to say it. And just wanted to verify, Ms. Taylor, did you receive my witness list? It does have the spelling.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And this is another police officer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Officer Quails, if this is Judge Graham, how do you pronounce your last name, sir?
It's keyless, Judge.
Yes, okay, okay. Sir, if you'd raise your right hand, you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I swear.
All right, thank you. Ms. Wiggins, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Officer, how are you currently employed?
I'm employed with the city of Amarillo.
And how long have you worked for the city of Amarillo?
About 15 and a half years.
And do you work as a law enforcement officer for the city?
I am, yes, ma'am.
And are you a certified police officer?
Yes, ma'am.
And what division are you currently with?
I'm currently assigned to the detective division with the special victims unit.
And before that, I'm to a different unit in July of 2023.
No, ma'am. I
Okay.
was with the special victims unit as well in detectives.
Okay, thank you. And so on July 13th of 2023, did you receive an assignment for a case involving a victim, Stacy Christopher?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you first do as part of the investigation?
I made some attempts to try to get in touch.
I know it sounds like a criminal trial, and everything they keep bringing up is criminal. And it keeps getting worse and worse. But it's not a criminal trial. This is a placement for the child.
With Miss Stacy, but unsuccessfully. I don't believe she has a working phone, and the shelters didn't have record of her and a way to contact her. And then I was able to make contact with Devin while he was at Potter County.
Now, did you talk to, just to clarify, was that Devin O'Brien?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you talk to him about his living situation currently, before he was arrested?
Yes, ma'am, briefly.
And what did he indicate to you?
He had indicated to me that he and Stacy were living in a tent. They're essentially homeless. And he kind of explained to me the area they were in off of I-40. And I believe it was near Quarter Horse or Nelson. Right in that area, there's a field that he was kind of staying in, or they were staying in.
And based on his description, did it appear that it would have been safe for a child to reside in that location?
I would not believe so, no, ma'am.
Okay. Now, in regards to the investigation, he was currently arrested for assault of a pregnant person. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And he denied those allegations. Is that right?
He did.
Now, in regards to the incident, he did confirm, though, that she was pregnant at the time or that night. Is that correct?
He did. He believed that to be true, that she was pregnant.
And did he give any statements about their relationship?
He said they had a kind of a rough relationship, that she would, go around town, and then there was I think it was an ex-boyfriend or an ex-friend of hers that he would or she would go with, and kind of go panhandle and things like that, and that kind of upset Devin and caused some problems between their relationship.
Okay, but he did confirm that he was in a dating relationship with her for about 6 months.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in regards to Mr. O'Brien, did he indicate whether or not he was working at the time?
I don't remember.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Taylor?
No questions.
Ms. Archer?
No questions.
Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
All right, then can he be
I got
excused, Ms.
questions.
Please?
I have no objection, Judge.
No objection.
All right. Officer, thank you for your testimony and thank you for your service. I'll release you so you can go about your afternoon's business.
Thank you very much, Judge. Y'all have a
Thank
good
you.
afternoon.
You
Thank
too.
More of a dumpster fire coming.
All right, Ms. Wiggins, next witness.
Thank you, Judge. I called Nicholas Grant.
Okay. Is this another officer?
Yes, sir.
Officer Grant, this is Judge Graham. If you'd unmute, please. All right, thank you, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you'd raise your right hand, please. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. Ms. Wiggins, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Officer Grant, how are you currently employed?
I'm a patrol deputy with the Randall County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you worked for the Randall County Sheriff's Office?
6 years.
And are you a certified police officer?
Yes, ma'am.
And on July 13th of 2023, were you working as a corporal for patrol?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you assigned to or dispatched to a location around 5 a.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
And what location were you dispatched to?
The 400 block of Southeast 58th, roughly space 15.
Okay, thank you. And can you describe, I guess, that location? You said space 15. What does that mean?
It's a trailer park with about 2 or 3 rows, and they're labeled simply 1 through how many are there. So this one we're dispatched to the area of space 15, which would have been trailer 15.
Okay. And when you arrived at that location, what was the purpose of your visit to that location?
We had a report of a burglary of a habitation that was ongoing.
Now, when you arrived at that location, did you come into contact with any suspects?
I did. We came in contact with the victim. I don't recall her name at this time, and she was in the middle of the road talking with Deputy Turner.
Okay. And did she point you in the direction of where the suspects were?
Correct. They ran inside the residence of space 15.
And were the suspects identified as Stephen Whitaker and Brandon Oakley?
That's correct.
And did you have an interaction with them where they were handcuffed?
Yes, we had made contact. Sergeant Rice had made contact with them at the front door of space 15 while I was looking in the back, making sure nobody ran out through the back, and they were detained from that after they were called out of that residence.
And while you were making contact, or while they were exiting the residence and being detained, did you view anything inside the residence?
Yeah, so I went up to the threshold of the door and I saw a marijuana pipe. It's a bubbler, if you will. It's just another form of marijuana, or not marijuana pipe, methamphetamine pipe.
Okay. And what are kind of the distinctions based on your training and experience to distinguish that methamphetamine pipe from a marijuana pipe?
Methamphetamine pipes typically aren't mass produced commercially in states where marijuana is legalized. They're usually homemade. They're usually crudely made. You can use the smoking mechanism which they use superheats the glass and chars it really distinctly. So wherever they put the drugs in, it's usually burned with a residue around the stem and the compartment where they hold the meth.
Okay. And based on your...
Remember at the very beginning, I said that the sound and the video get out of sync, but every like 5 minutes I fix it. So it's fixed now. Keep watching. It'll go out of sync again and I'll bump it back.
experience in your description of what a methamphetamine pipe looks like, was that what you saw when you viewed inside the trailer?
That's correct.
Now, in regards to the trailer or that investigation, what did you do to further that investigation?
We called out the remainder of the residents of the who were inside, which was William Newman. He was the only one left inside. And then we entered the residence to just make sure there was nobody else in it. And then we left. We were under the impression that we were going to go ahead and ask for a search warrant at that time.
Okay.
So we just secured the residence.
And in regards to securing the residence, did you also indicate whether or not there was a female present with a child?
I don't recall at this time. Yeah,
Okay.
she had. I was in the back whenever this happened, but yeah, a white female did come outside with a boy whenever that happened.
Okay, and was he identified as Zyler O'Brien? Okay. And did you see the boy? Not necessarily leave the residence, but did you see him that night?
That's correct. I did.
And in regards to the residence, did you enter the residence after clearing it?
I think we cleared the residence and, I'm sorry. Yeah, we were looking for, anybody else inside the residence, and after we cleared it, we left. And that was
Okay,
all we had to do with it. The residence.
Can you describe the state that the residence was in when you cleared it?
So it was half the residents didn't have power. I only recall like one room, the master bedroom having electricity running to it. And inside the master bedroom was littered with clothes. There were different kinds of fixed blade and folding knives mounted with screws along the walls. The electrical breaker was inside of the closet and it looked like it had been opened and was exposed to clothes that were simply on hangers that could be touching at any point. Everywhere. It had been evident that there had been animal residents, and it looked like there was animal feces both inside the master bedroom and in the common living area. The kitchen of the residence didn't have, the dishes were piled up in the sink and on the counter that had not been washed. There was still rotting food in the trash can and on the plates. It was all covered in a layer of dust, so nobody had been in there for quite some time. There was holes in the floorboards in some places. I don't recall the weather, but there definitely wasn't any AC or heating or air in there. It was all stale air. So that's all I recall about it right now.
Okay. Was there also other signs of drug paraphernalia around the house as well?
Yeah, there was a sack full of loose marijuana and some marijuana pipes in the living room and as well in the bedroom. And we took photographs of those.
And at the current description of the residence, would that have been safe for a child, Zyla O'Brien's age?
In my professional opinion, no.
And was he a toddler size child?
Yeah, a toddler or maybe still an infant, very small.
All right. Were there any individuals arrested that night?
If they were, Deputy Turner would have been the one that arrested him. I had arrested nobody that night.
Okay, I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Just briefly, Your Honor. You were there in connection with an allegation of an ongoing burglary?
Yes, sir.
Did you say?
Yes.
Okay, and did you actually engage in any kind of conversation with the little boy or the adult female that was with the little boy?
I think I asked them if they were okay if they wanted to sit inside of a car because there was the female had elected to sit on the grass and she was getting eaten up by mosquitoes. But that's really about it. We tried to find a solution for some bug spray or something like that, but I never talked to them.
Did you identify her?
No.
Okay, and made no effort to determine whether she actually lived there or how long she had been there, or what the circumstances were of her and the child being there?
No, that would have been Deputy Turner. It was his call for service. I was just a supporting officer.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Archer.
Was Devin O'Brien present that night?
I don't recall, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Ingram.
No questions.
All right, if there's nothing further, can Corporal Grant be dismissed?
Judge, I did have a follow-up.
Okay.
Officer Grant, could you review your report and see whether or not you did identify the female individual who had the child?
In my report, I list that she was identified as Debbie Boyer and then identified as Zyla O'Brien. I don't know if that was me that identified her or if it was another officer. I just documented in that report that she was identified.
Okay, and she was identified as Debbie Boyer.
Correct.
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, then, if no one else has other questions, then Corporal Grant, I'll dismiss you so you can go about your afternoon's business. Thank you for your testimony and thank you for your service.
Yes, sir.
Oh, she will.
All right, Ms. Wiggins, your next witness.
Thank you, Judge. Can you let Ms. Sessions back in? I think she dropped off.
Sure, yeah, I see.
And then I would call Aaron Strobel.
Okay. Is this another officer?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Another dumpster fire.
Officer Strobel, this is Judge Graham. If you'd unmute, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
We will.
Okay, thank you, officer. If you would, please raise your right hand.
Okay.
You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Wiggins.
Thank you, Judge. Officer Strobel, how are you currently employed?
With the Randall County Sheriff's Office.
And are you a licensed certified police officer? I'm sorry.
Yes.
And how long have you been a police officer for the Randall County Sheriff's Office?
For about, I've been with the Sheriff's Office since 2013. I've been a peace officer since 2018.
And before then, did you work in the jail?
Yes.
And as part of your employment, do you conduct traffic offenses?
Yes.
Of 2023, were you working in the capacity of a law enforcement officer?
Yes.
And at approximately 6:15 p.m., did you pass a vehicle that
I start on
was,
Monday.
I guess, that you noticed something about the vehicle?
Yes. I was conducting a traffic stop on a Buick LeSabre at near 58th and Osage.
And what was the reason for the stop?
The registration was expired by a year, I think.
And when you made the stop, who did you make contact with first?
Brandon Oakley was the driver and his girlfriend, Debbie Boyer, was the passenger.
And during the course of that investigation, did you ask to search the vehicle?
Yes.
And was a search conducted on the vehicle?
Yes.
And was anything illegal found inside the vehicle?
Yes. Behind the stereo, there was 2 plastic baggies with a white substance inside.
And based on your training and experience, did you identify what you believed the substance to be?
Through my training, it looked to be like methamphetamine.
Now, in regards to the stop, was there anyone in the vehicle besides
All
those
of
2
them.
individuals?
All of them.
No.
And was anyone arrested at that time?
Yes, they both were arrested for the possession.
All right, I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Taylor,
No question.
Ms. Archer,
No question.
Mr. Ingram.
No questions.
All right. If there's nothing further, can Officer Strobel be excused?
No, he can stay.
Please, Judge.
He can
Okay.
stay.
All right, Officer Strobel, thank you for your
No.
testimony. I'll release you so you can go
No.
about your business, and thank you for your service.
Okay, thank you.
Rude.
Thank you.
And Judge, I know we've been only going at it for 30 minutes, but is it possible for have a short bathroom break?
Sure. Yeah, we'll take
Okay.
5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll
Thank
come
you,
back.
Judge.
Uh-huh. Okay, we'll get started back as soon as we have everybody with us. All right, Mr. Van Vickle, if you'd unmute, please. I'm saying that no.
Mr. Van Vickle is having an issue, Judge.
I think I found it there,
Okay,
Judge.
yeah, you did. Okay, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd raise your right hand, you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, thank you, Ms. Wiggins.
Now I'm muted. Mr. Van Vickle, how are you currently employed?
Special investigator with the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services.
Okay, and what does a special investigator do?
Special investigators, we are not defined as typical caseworkers. We, among other things, help regular workers locate families they've lost track of, been unable to locate. We look for missing children who's missing from foster care. We investigate child death. We are assigned school investigations, cases where police officers are alleged to have placed their child at abuse or neglect, these kind of things.
Okay, and were you involved with a case investigating the welfare of a Zyler O'Brien?
Yes, ma'am. I was given the affidavit. It brought back some memories, yes.
Okay, and was the investigation started approximately July of 2023?
Yes,
And did you become involved in early August?
yes. I believe it was.
And I'm sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
And were you assigned to the case or asked to help the case because they were having trouble locating the child in the case?
Can we just appreciate the fact that finally someone has a Texas accent in Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
And on August 7th of 2023, did you go to a trailer park to investigate the location of the child?
Yes, I did.
And do you happen to know the address of that location?
It looks like it was 400 Southeast 58th Street. It would be a trailer number 15.
Okay. And when you went to that trailer, were you met by any individuals?
The primary caseworker, Evans, was there with me. We drove to the trailer and we contacted, his name was Brandon. I can't think of his last name right now. Oakley, Brandon Oakley.
Okay. And from your understanding, was he the grandfather to the child?
William Taylor's not really here, though. Look at him.
And were you with the child at that residence?
Yes.
And were you able on that day to locate the child?
No.
Now, in regards to the case, did you continue to search for the child?
We continued, yes.
And on the next day, August 8th of 2023, did you attempt to go to that same location again?
I believe it was the next day, yes.
And were you able to locate the child at that time?
I'd have to review the affidavit, but we did finally locate him at that address. I couldn't tell you what date it was.
Okay, and I'm sorry if per the report, if it was August 10th of 2023 that you finally located the child at the residence, does that sound about right?
It sounds about right.
Okay, and were you able to locate the child in that trailer 15?
Yes, with the assistance of the Randall County Sheriff's Office.
And was the child in the possession or was the mother with the child at that point?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. Was the child instead residing with the maternal grandparents?
Yes.
And based on the situation of the child, was the child taken to be interviewed and observed?
The regular worker, Miss Evans, secured the child. I believe the child was taken for medical assessment. I'm not sure if he was interviewed or not.
And after that point in time, did you have any additional contact or access to this case?
No.
All right, I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, Mr. Taylor.
So I understand you did not have any contact with the child's mother. Is that what you just said?
I have not personally, no.
Thank you, sir. That's witness.
Ms. Archer?
Yes, and did you have any contact with Devin O'Brien in your
Yes,
investigation?
I recall going out to the Potter County Jail. Randall County Jail, I believe it was. I couldn't tell you which jail it was now. I did go to one of the jails and I contacted Mr. O'Brien.
Was that the end of your contact with him, or have you had any recent contact with him?
That was only one contact that I can recall, was that one meeting with him.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Mr. Ingram,
No questions.
anything further?
Yes, just a follow-up. Mr. Van Vickle, when you met with Mr. O'Brien, did he talk to you about where the child could possibly be residing?
Yes,
And what did he state?
he believed that this child would be with his mother at the mother's parents' residence at that trailer park.
Okay, and that is indeed where you did find the child, is that correct?
Subsequently, yes.
And in regards to Mr. O'Brien, did he make any comments about the situation the child was living in?
I recall him saying that he had a concern of illegal drug use going on around the child, but he didn't think that back up a little bit, that he had no specific concern that drugs were being used around the son, but that the persons having him would be using illegal drugs, if I remember right.
Okay, so he was potentially concerned with illegal drugs being used in the location the child was at.
Right.
Okay, nothing further, Judge.
Anyone else?
Just one follow-up. So what was your purpose in going to the jail, just to be clear?
To locate the biological father, Mr. O'Brien.
Okay. And did he answer your questions?
I believe so. There would have been a follow-up with him if I needed anything else, but I believe everything was answered that one visit.
And no further questions.
Anyone else? All right, can Mr. Van Vickle be excused?
I have no objection.
Okay.
No objection.
Mr. Van Vickle, I'll release you so you can go back to your afternoon's business. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, Judge.
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
All right. Next witness.
I would call Melody Zuniga.
Okay. Ms. Zuniga, if you'd raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. Ms. Wiggins?
Next
Thank
dumpster
you, Judge.
fire.
Ms. Zuniga, how are you currently employed?
I'm a supervisor with the Department of Family and Protective Services.
And in July of 2023, were you in that same position?
I was.
And did you supervise the case involving the child Zyler O'Brien?
I did.
And who is the assigned caseworker?
Malia Evans.
Now, when Ms. Evans was assigned to the case, what is your current procedure for how investigations proceed?
So once she is assigned the investigation, they do some basic steps, reviewing some history, running background checks, just trying to gather as much background information as possible. And then the next step would be is to go out in the field and make contact with the child and try to assess the safety.
And as part of that investigation and her position as being one of your
I don't think so. So Archer is the mom's lawyer. William is the father's lawyer. I don't see a lawyer for the child here at all. Unless Courtney is. Courtney might be, right? I know that's dad's and that's mom's. So maybe Courtney. I don't know.
supervisors, one of the people you supervise. Do you keep in regular updates with her about the status of the case?
Yes.
And to your understanding, did Ms. Evans have difficulty locating the child and the parents?
Yes.
And specifically the mother?
Yes.
Now, did we have a potential location of where we thought the child could be?
Yes, we did.
And based on that information, was it requested that a special investigator be assigned?
Yes.
And during the course of the case, since y'all were having difficulty locating the child, to avoid a removal right off, did you ask the court for an order to aid in this case?
We did.
And specifically, what is an order to aid?
An order to aid helps us to be able to gain access to the child or home, medical examinations, things that we can get to an effort to prevent a removal, to get the information that we need to assess the safety of a child.
Okay. And so is that an investigative tool that you use to gather more information on whether or not to conclude if a child's in harm of abuse or neglect?
It is.
And for this case, was an order to aid granted?
Yes, it was.
And specifically, what was the order to aid in wanting to investigate?
The condition of the home, a medical examination of the child. There were some concerns about Zyler's physical appearance. We knew that there had been reports that Zyler was not verbal. So we knew that there was a strong possibility we wouldn't be able to interview him. It gave us access to the child and access to transport him for a medical exam.
And was a medical exam completed on the child?
It was.
And was there concerns for the welfare of the child?
There was.
And at that point in time, was it requested that a drug screen be done on the child?
There was.
And were there also, was that expressed desire for the child to be drug screened? Was that spoken with the mother?
Yes.
And was she finally able to communicate with the mother after the child was removed to the doctor's appointment?
Yes, I was actually the one who made contact with her.
Okay. And what did she state to you, or what did you state to her involving regarding the investigation?
We were able to express the concerns that we received regarding the report. She had denied living in the exact trailer where the paraphernalia was found during law enforcement's involvement. She had claimed that she had just dropped her child off there for about roughly 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops. Even though the child was found there again.
Okay, so at first he's beating her up, and that was in, I think, January of 2023 or April of 2023. I can't remember. He's beating her up then. He gets charged. He gets arrested for that. And then I guess he gets out. The child was with them at that time, living in a tent. Then they're in the trailer selling meth or doing meth, something with meth. And I think they get charged with that. But the officer that came on stand wasn't sure what the charges were. And that was months later, because it's 2024 right now. So those two, I think, were in 2023. Then they get pulled over by the police and they have meth in the car. So I don't know when that was. That could have been early 2024. It could have been the end of 2023. And then I'm guessing this person is asking her to drug test the child and her sometime in 2024 is my best guess.
And we executed the order to aid. She had agreed to sign a safety plan stating that she would not return the child to that trailer park in that trailer, that she was going to stay in a motel being supervised by the maternal uncle, that she herself and the child would go drug test the next day as recommended by that physical exam the child had. And that's how that meeting left, because the facility was not open when we finished the examination that day. The order to aid was executed.
The child was an infant in either January or April of 2023. So the child can't even be 3 yet. It's under 3 years old.
Okay. And what day did you speak with her?
That was on the 10th of August.
And after the 10th of August, before the removal of the child, did the mother drug screen or take the child to drug screen?
She did not.
And did you continue to have concerns with the child being located in the grandparents' home?
Yes, we did.
And based on that, did you also have concerns with Miss Oakley following the safety plan of being supervised by her brother?
Yes, we did.
Did you find out information that she was indeed not being supervised by her brother?
Yes, we did.
And due to all of those, the incidences where she did not follow up on the medical care of the child, she did not follow up to indicate whether or not she was free of drug use around the child, was the child removed from the mother and father?
Yes, he was.
And where was the child located upon removal?
He was brought to the paternal aunt's home where he ended up being placed at.
And was
Okay, so that was August. That was a little after August last year. So a year ago, they removed the child from the parents.
there actually a writ that had to be done by the court ordering the child to be given to the department?
We were actually in process of doing that when we were working with the paternal aunt who was working with Miss Oakley, and she agreed. She had another relative bring the child to her.
Okay, so Miss Oakley never actually complied and in fact gave the child to another relative who then gave him to you.
Yes.
And did Miss Oakley actually drug screen after the removal of the child?
She did. She didn't drug screen until August 24th, but she refused the urine and she did complete the hair.
And Judge, I'd offer Petitioner Exhibit 1. It is the drug screen from August 24th of 2023. It was filed with a business records affidavit on August 30th of 2023.
All right, objections? All right, then Petitioner's 1's admitted.
And Ms. Zuniga, what were the results for that hair follicle screen?
She was positive for methamphetamines.
And did you feel like the department exhausted all efforts to avoid removal of the child?
Yes, we did.
And did you do so by having the order to aid, also creating a safety plan, and attempting to help locate the child?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Taylor?
Wake up, Mr. Taylor. Wake up.
You're muted.
Yes, I apologize for that. No question, John.
All right, Mr. Archer,
No question.
Mr. Ingram.
No questions.
All right, then, if there's no follow-ups, can Ms. Zuniga be released?
I have no objection, Judge.
Okay. All right, Ms. Zuniga, I'll release you so you can go about your afternoon's business. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
And Judge, I would call Rachel Peebles.
Okay. Ms. Peoples, this is Judge Graham. If you'd unmute, please. All right, thank you, ma'am. If you'd raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Wiggins.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Peebles, how are you currently employed?
I work for A World for Children.
And
Not a
previously
cop.
to working for A World for Children, did you work for St. Francis Ministries?
Yes.
And did you work as a permanency specialist for St. Francis?
Yes, I did.
And were you assigned to a case involving Zyler O'Brien?
Yes.
And how long were you the worker in the case?
It was the first case I got, so it was probably about 10 months, maybe.
Okay. Did you get the case right after the adversary hearing?
Yes.
Okay, so about September of 2023?
Yes.
And did you have the case until approximately a month ago?
Yes.
Now, in regards to the case, as the caseworker, did you complete a service plan for both parents?
I did, yes.
And was the service plan attempt to mitigate the reasons for removal?
Yes.
And in regards to the removal, was it your understanding that the mother had some drug issues?
Yes.
And also that the father was currently incarcerated for an assaultive offense?
Yes.
And so based on that, did the services for the mother center around parenting to better enable her to parent the child as well as drug treatment?
Yes.
And in regards to the father, did it center around him doing services to help alleviate issues with assaultive behavior, like the Batters Intervention and Prevention Program.
Yes.
Now, in regards to the case, were you able to go over the service plans with the parents?
I did, yes.
And did they seem to understand what was being requested of them by the department?
Yes, they did.
And in regards to Mr. O'Brien, was he incarcerated? When was he released from incarceration? Approximately.
February, maybe.
Okay, so about February of 2024?
Yes, I know he was in there for probably 6 months that I went to go see him.
Okay, so if he was arrested mid-July, so January, February would be about 6 months. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, after he was released from incarceration, did he notify you?
No.
And had you met with Mr. O'Brien in the Potter County Jail?
Yes.
And did you go, is that where you went over his service plan with him?
Yes, I did.
And did you tell him on one or multiple occasions to contact you after he was released?
Multiple.
And through those discussions, did you indicate that once he was released, you could help him start working his services in his plan?
Yes, I did.
And did you instruct him it was very important for him to contact you? Otherwise, we would be unable to help him reunify with his child.
Yes.
And what did he indicate to you?
The multiple times I went to go see him, he acted like he wanted to work services when he got out. But there was never any follow through with that.
Okay. And so he seemed to understand that what was needed of him was to contact you upon his release.
Yes.
Now, in regards to, and how were you informed that he was released from incarceration?
I attempted to go see him, and they told me that he was released at Potter.
Okay. So you never got confirmation from him, but you got confirmation obviously from the facility.
Correct.
Now, in regards to Mr. O'Brien, did he work any of the services ordered in his service plan?
No.
And in fact, he didn't even maintain contact with the department after he was released from incarceration. Is that correct?
Correct.
And did he ever set up visitation or call or inquire about the welfare of the child?
No.
Did he ever visit with the child during the course of the case?
No.
And during the course of the case, the child has been in the care at least for 9 months with the department. Is that correct?
Yes.
And has he been able to demonstrate that he can provide a safe environment for the child?
No.
And would you consider the service plan a reasonable attempt to reunify the child with the father?
Yes.
And had he worked the services and made the necessary behavioral changes, reunification could have been possible.
Right.
Now, do you, in regards to the mother, Miss Oakley, you created a service plan for her too, is that correct?
Yes.
And in regards to the service plan, one of the, I guess, main services or simplest, I suppose, is to maintain communication with the department. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did Miss Oakley maintain communication with you?
It was very sporadic. Some months she was better than other months.
Okay. Did she indicate a reason for her sporadic communication?
No, there was never a reason.
From your understanding, was she able to locate and maintain stable housing?
No.
The last time that when was the last time you communicated with Miss Oakley?
The last time I saw her, I went to the hotel that she was living at, and then we probably exchanged some text after that. I was trying to go see her on the last month I was employed, and she would not give me her whereabouts.
Okay, so while you may have had some communication, when was the last time you were able to physically see her in person?
I think it was May.
Okay, so May of 2024?
I think.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not positive on that. Sorry.
That's okay. In regards to your employment, did you make detailed notes about your interactions with Miss Oakley?
I did.
And if notes indicate that you did talk to her in April, would that help refresh your memory?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you ask her to drug screen for you in May of 2024?
Yes.
And did she comply?
I don't think she did.
Okay. And again, if there are notes indicating that she did comply with the May 14th of 2024 report, you would have nothing to disagree with?
Correct.
Okay. And Judge, we would like to offer Petitioner Exhibits 2. It is the drug screen for Ms. Oakley on May 14th of 2024. It's the hair follicle drug screen. Business records was filed May 23rd of 2024.
Right, objections?
No objection.
Okay, petitioners 2 is admitted.
And did Ms. Oakley ever talk to you about her current drug use?
She did more at the beginning of the case.
And what did she say to you about her drug use?
She admitted to using at the beginning, but wasn't honest throughout the case on her drug use.
Okay, and what did she admit to using?
Meth.
Now, in regards to now, as far as her services, from what you recall, did she complete any of her services?
I don't believe she completed any.
All right, I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, Mr. Taylor?
Wake up, Mr.
I have
Taylor.
no questions of this witness, please.
All right, Ms. Archer?
Ms. Peoples, what attempts did you make to locate Devin O'Brien after he got out of jail?
The first thing I did was message him on Facebook, as he did not respond to that. And then I ran a finders on him and was able to go to, I think it was his father's house, and asked his stepmom if she knew where he was at. And then I went to one of the addresses listed for, I believe it was his mother's house. I attempted to go to that one 3 times, and there was no answer. Yes.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
All right. Ms. Peoples, did Miss Oakley regularly visit the child?
No, we had to stop visits multiple times. I think we stopped them twice because of not showing up a lot of times, missing the visits. So,
Right. Was the service plan created for Miss Oakley? Was that a reasonable effort on the part of the department to return the child to Miss Oakley?
yes.
So would you say that she's demonstrated an inability to provide the child with a safe environment?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, anyone else have further questions?
Just one, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ms. Oakley's most recent visitation was stopped by court order, was it not, until she could provide a clean drug test?
I believe it was court ordered, yes.
Okay, and she never provided that, is that correct?
I don't believe so.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any other questions for Ms. Peoples? All right, then, can she be excused?
I have no objection.
No objection.
Okay, Ms. Peoples, thank you for your testimony.
I don't know. She sat there for all the hearings, all the whole docket. There was a bunch of hearings, and she rarely muted herself. They had to keep muting her because she kept making noises. And then every time she left, he had to let her back in. And I don't know what she's doing there. I have no idea.
Tony, I'll release you so you can go about your afternoon's business.
Oops.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Wiggins.
Thank you, Judge. I'd offer Petitioner Exhibit 3. It is a certified copy of the status hearing order with attached service plans.
All right, objections?
No objection.
Okay, petitioners 3 is admitted.
And I would like to offer Petitioner Exhibit 4. It's a certified copy of an indictment 33830-C against Selena Oakley for burglary of a habitation.
All right, objections?
No objection.
Okay, petitioners 4 is admitted.
And finally, I would offer Petitioner Exhibit 5. It is a police report to Randall County Sheriff's Office Report 24-0000561.
Objections?
I do object to that, Your Honor. It's just a report that's full of hearsay and does
What
not
hearsay?
constitute any
Who
evidence
is it
of-
for? Him or
Yeah.
her?
And I'd object to it, grounds of hearsay.
Okay,
And Judge, I would offer it under, do believe it complies with Texas Rules of Evidence 8038 as a public record. And unless there is a show of that it's not authentic, I do believe that it should be allowed to be admissible.
okay, that objection will be overruled. Petitioners 5, if there's no other objections, will be admitted. Okay,
Thank you, Judge. And I call Tiffany Brown.
okay. Ms. Brown, if you'd raise your right hand, please. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Wiggins.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Brown, are you the current caseworker for the Zyler O'Brien case?
Yes, ma'am.
And where is Zyler currently placed?
He's currently placed with his maternal uncle and aunt here in Amarillo, Texas.
And when was he placed with the maternal uncle and aunt?
He's been there for about 9 months.
Okay. And if his placement was about the same day as his removal, does that seem accurate to you?
Yes, ma'am.
And how is he doing in that placement?
He's doing really good. He receives therapy twice a week, occupational and speech. He's still delayed, but making progress.
Now, in regards to his delay, it was testified previously that he could not speak when he was removed. Is he now able to communicate better?
He is communicating better.
And do you believe that he is getting all of the educational, emotional, psychological, and medical needs met in that current placement?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And is there, if the parents' rights are terminated, is that placement wanting to be a long-term placement for Zyler?
Yes, ma'am.
And in fact, did they sign to be permanent managing conservators of the child if that is possible?
Ma'am.
And they're willing to care for him until he is 18?
Yes, ma'am.
And in regards to his medical needs, is he on any current medication?
No, ma'am.
And in regards to school, he's still a little bit young. Is that correct?
He will be registering for preschool in the fall.
And do you believe that the parent or that the placement is more than willing and able to take care of all of his needs?
Yes.
And in regards to the mother, have you had contact with Selena Oakley?
Only through text messages.
And has she indicated with you that she has completed any of her services?
Okay.
And has she drug screened for the department since May? I'm sorry, did you hear my question? Okay. Okay, so did she drug screen in June?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
And she did complete an OSAR evaluation, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
But she did not complete the Padre, is that fair?
Yes.
And in regards to her drug screen, she was positive for methamphetamine in May of 2024, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so would that be a continuing concern for the danger of Zyler if he is placed in the home with the mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Additionally, has she given any indication that she has stable housing or employment?
She has not.
And have you been able to observe any type of residence or hotel or any place that she is residing?
No, ma'am.
And so you're not even able to assess whether or not that would be a safe environment for the child.
Correct.
Now, in regards to her visitation, it was previously testified, it was stopped in May of 2024 by the court order. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And she had not been consistently attending previously to that as well. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, in regards to Mr. O'Brien, what efforts have you made since becoming the caseworker to locate him?
I have went to previous addresses that are in our system, as well as the vacant lot that's across from St. Francis. And I have not been able to locate him.
And that vacant lot, was that the lot that was indicated previously in July 2023 where he resided?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you believe you've exhausted all efforts to be able to locate Mr. O'Brien?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in regards to the, the child, do you believe it would be in Zyler's best interest that the mother's rights be terminated?
Yes, ma'am.
And why do you believe that?
I have not been able to view her home to see if it's safe and stable. No knowledge of her current drug use.
Do you believe that both of those things pose a danger to the child now and in the future?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe that the mother can provide for the physical or emotional needs of the child now and in the future?
No, ma'am.
And do you believe that the service plan and services in it would have allowed Ms. Oakley to potentially reunify with her child had she taken advantage of those?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it a concern for the department, having almost been a year into the case, that we are continuing to keep getting positive drug screens?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in regards to Mr. O'Brien, do you believe it's in the child's best interest that his rights be terminated?
Yes, ma'am.
And why do you believe that?
Not having any contact with him, not knowing his living arrangements or his sobriety or current drug use as well.
Is it a concern for the department that he has not made contact with the department since being released from incarceration?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it also a concern, obviously, as you mentioned, being unable to confirm where he's living, where if he has employment, if he's free from any drug use, which could all pose a threat to the child?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you believe it would be in the child's best interest for the department to be named permanent managing conservator and his placement to continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Right, thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Yes, Ms. Brown, I assume you took over the case when Ms. Peoples ceased becoming the caseworker on the case. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And approximately what was that date that you took over this case?
June 29th, 24.
And what specific contact have you had with Ms. Oakley?
We had texts about her drug screening in June, as well as in July.
Okay,
Her and I have have exchanged text messages regarding drug screens.
Okay, those were text messages?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you had any actual telephone contact with her?
No, when I dial her number, she doesn't answer. She does text back that she's had some problems with her phone not working.
And you've had no in-person contact with her?
No, sir. I did go with Ms. Peoples in June to make her attempts to see Selena at the addresses that we had for her.
Thank you, Beck. Thank you. We're just glad you're here.
You're muted, Mr. Taylor.
Sorry, I didn't realize I got muted. Y'all, I'll pass the witness.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Archer?
Ms. Brown, as far as you know, has Devin O'Brien reached out to any of his family members?
Not as far as I know, no.
I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
All right. Anything further for Ms. Brown?
No, Your Honor, we rest.
All right, thank you. Mr. Taylor, do you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor, I think for the purpose of self-interest, let me state on the record that I did forward to Ms. Oakley the link for today's hearing. I did have regular contact with her in person and by phone up until the day that I sent her a copy of the most recent court report for this final hearing and scheduled with her a specific appointment to discuss it after she had reviewed it. She did not make that telephone appointment for that discussion and has not contacted me since or responded to my efforts to reach out to her. And her telephone number gives me a recording saying it's not in service at this point. So I feel like I've made every effort I can to ensure that she was at the hearing and prepared. And I have nothing further to present.
Okay, all right, thank you. Ms. Archer, any witnesses?
No witnesses, Judge. I have the same scenario. I did send a certified letter to the last known address. I've reached out to family members. I also tried calling Mr. O'Brien's prior attorney to see if he might have a different number or contact, and I've had no luck at all.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, then, Mr. Ingram, if you have no witnesses, recommendations?
Yes, sir. I believe it to be in the child's best interest that both the mother's and father's parental rights be terminated, that the permanent managing constituent to remain as is.
Okay, give me just a minute. I've got to run to office and I'll be right back. Well as the exhibits that have been admitted, I do find that it's in the best interest of the child, Zyler O'Brien, that the parental rights of his mother, Selena Oakley, be terminated. I'll terminate those rights today based on Texas Family Code, section 161.001, subsections B, 1D, E, N as in Nancy, and O. I further find that it's in the best interest of Zyler O'Brien that the parental rights of his father, Devin O'Brien, be terminated. I'll terminate those rights today based on Texas Family Code, section 161.001, subsections B, 1,
Not
N,
bad, Donald.
and O.
Thank you.
I'll name the
Not
department
bad,
permanent
Donald.
managing conservator. I'll continue Zyler's current placement. We'll have our first review hearing on October 14th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearings, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of October 14th to see exactly what time we'll have that hearing. So, okay, that will conclude this hearing. I'm going to stop the Zoom hearing. I will resume it shortly before 1 o'clock, at which time we'll take up 2 Randall County adversary hearings. That's on the Dominguez child and the Vallis and Carver children. So we will stand in recess till then. Y'all have a good week.
I just left it in there so you guys could hear. Y'all have a good week. Y'all come back now, you hear? Okay, so that was just dumpster fire after dumpster fire after dumpster fire. That lawyer brought everybody. So wonder she didn't bring like a 3rd grade teacher in. Yeah, he cheated on his test. Yeah, he did. Then he told me he didn't cheat. He told me she cheated off of him. Oh man, it's just such a good ending. Child's starting to talk now. Child could not talk at all before. They had a drug test an infant, a toddler, whatever he was. Although, I guess while we were growing up, we got liquor. We got liquor when we were teething. Every time my dad sent me to the refrigerator to go grab him a beer, I drank some. And then there was liquor downstairs in the basement that I would drink and fill up with water. So I guess but we're fine. And Zyler will be fine too. Zyler will be fine. All right. Time to get normal. Time to come down off of this crazy roller coaster and go to Judge Fleischer. I'm pretty sure on this day, this is where we stopped. And we stopped too early. because the beginning is a banger.
Morning, Ms. Davis. How's it going?
Too blessed to be stressed.
Too bad, blessed to be
Um,
stressed.
So here's the deal. You're wanted at Kentucky for 2 serious charges. One of them is willful and wanton, did you say destruction?
It is endangerment, Your Honor.
Sorry, willful and wanton endangerment. The other one is possession of a weapon by a felon. Okay? You've already waived. The problem that we had all the time and why it took so long was because, so he is on parole,
Yes, Judge.
right? But it took forever and a day for them to lift that parole hold for your case to move forward. Shreya, how much time did you put in to try to get the hold lifted, would you say?
Oh, Judge, I've got hours and hours and hours. Hours, lots of hours.
I mean, just give me ballpark.
I'm just gonna give you, and he has a copy of the file too, I would say 6 hours.
She's put in a lot of time. That's just to get them to lift the hold. I don't know anyone here in the 6 years we've been here that has put in 6 hours of phone calls and time just to reach out to parole to get them to release a hold.
Sure.
And luckily she did. Otherwise, you would be stuck like Chuck, just waiting even more. So you have waived. And the problem is that Kentucky is on their way to come get you. And they should be here within the next 2 weeks. She's told me that you, what does he want? What do you want? I guess. Let's start with that. What do you want?
I've been incarcerated since April the 8th.
Right.
Not on a parole violation, but on the warrant out of Kentucky.
For both.
No, the parole violation hit 2 days after. My time started on the 8th. It didn't start on when parole hit. Parole told me that
Time started. Time for what?
90 days for them to indict me. My parole lawyer and parole officer told me they has 90 days to indict me. If they didn't indict me, parole would lift the hold, and then it will be up to you to give me a bond or to release me.
There's no indictment here.
Yes, sir.
There's no indictment here.
I'm aware of that. Yes, sir.
The only thing that we want is for you to go back to Kentucky.
I'm not a Kentucky resident. There is no evidence that says that I've been in Kentucky. There's no evidence that says that I'm the person who they're looking for.
Is this or is this not Terry Barnes? Terry, is that you? Is that why you're not in chat? Because you're in jail?
You just have a name. There's no other evidence. I have an attorney that's in Kentucky who's talking to the DA, and there is no other evidence.
If your lawyer in Kentucky can get them to release the hold, then we'll release you here. But when they took you in, they were able to match your fingerprints and who you are, your identifying factors to the person that's wanted out of Kentucky. And that's how they put 1 and 1 together to come up with 2. And that's how they identified who you are. And
Math.
Unfortunately, you're wanted out of a different jurisdiction. Because that, we can't let you go.
So I can't get a bond or anything.
I mean, theoretically, but I don't know if I'm going to give you a bond. Right? Was he on parole?
Judge, yes, he has had the parole hold. So to be clear, his 90 days has not started until the other day of the 18th.
I get that, but I mean,
So yes,
he's
he's on parole, Judge. And to my understanding, basically, if he were to refuse, then they would want the parole hold placed on him again, because they obviously do not want him getting out on a bond. So we would be arguing strongly against a bond based on his criminal history and the parole hold.
What's the parole? What's he on parole for?
It is for, it was out of Fort Bend County.
Looks like it's for aggravated assault, serious bodily injury.
Okay.
In 99.
How much time did you get on that?
I was 16. I got 35 years. I did 19.
Wow.
Since I've been home, my record has been impeccable.
Somehow you picked up charges in Kentucky somehow.
I see that.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
And Judge, you picked up the felon possession here in 2020 as well. It was dismissed, but
Guys, so you picked up also another felon in possession here.
yes, Your Honor.
Well,
It was ultimately dismissed, but that was a case from 2020 that was here.
in Harris County or in?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, because I don't see that. Let me see. Oh, yeah, I see that. Yeah. I just.
Sorry, there was another.
He got 35 years in jail when he was 16 and he didn't even kill anybody. But we've seen murderers. Anyway, I don't get the justice system sometimes.
Mistaken identity too. Like my parole officer even told me like there is nothing on that. That's why they dismissed it. There's no way that I would have caught a case and not been incarcerated or anything like that. I'm on parole until 2035, Your Honor. It wouldn't make sense for me to be doing something crazy and then not be locked up. I'm in custody now.
The problem, but listen to what Katie said. So if I set you a bond now, the minute I set you a bond, they're going to place another parole hold on you, right? Let's say theoretically, I set a bond on you now for whatever it may be, 30,000, 20,000, 50,000, 10,000. The minute I do that, she's going to get on the phone. She's going to call parole. They're going to put another hold on you. And we're going to be in the same exact position we were before Shreya was able to lift the hold. So before you even get the money to bond out, you're going to get another hold. It doesn't make sense.
I made bond down here. Will I be able to go up there and then make a bond?
No, because they're going to put a parole hold. Parole doesn't want you to get out. That's the point. So even if I set you a bond right now, she's going to reach out the parole. They're going to put another hold on you. And then you're going to sit for another 90 days while Shreya tries to convince them to lift the hold again. And then, well, probably at that time, they're going to be, well, why are we going to release the hold now? We know the judge is going to give them a bond. Then they won't release the hold. I mean, that's what, if I was parole, that's what I would be thinking, right? The bottom line is this, is that the good news is that they released the hold. So now that you can get on with your business in Kentucky, go to Kentucky, take care of the stuff over there, and then hopefully it'll end in a good fashion so that you can just get out and get on your way. I don't know what happened in Kentucky. I have no idea, but I don't have jurisdiction to do anything with your Kentucky cases. I can't do anything. That's Kentucky. I can't dismiss Kentucky cases.
Stop, Judge. You can do anything. You're the judge. You can do anything you want. Stop. Don't.
I can't tell them how to rule.
Don't.
I just don't.
Yes,
I don't
you
have
can.
that kind of power.
He's lying.
Yes, sir.
You
So if I go up there, I won't be able to get a bond either.
No, I didn't say that. I don't know.
She said parole will put another hold on me, so I won't.
Here in Harris County, when you get to Kentucky, I have no idea what's going to happen. I mean,
Judge, notice that they are on their way. I was looking at the emails and it does look like they're planning on picking him up seemingly by the 30th, so, which is within the 2 weeks.
you'll be out within the next 5 to 6 days. With Kentucky picking you up.
No, sir. I would like to rescind.
Would like to what?
Rescind my waiver.
Okay, I'm not going to grant it. I don't want to go through the cyclical thing that we're going through. Mr. Davis, I want you to get on I want you to take care of the business that you got and then move on with your life. The only thing I'm going to counsel you is don't pick up a gun. Nothing good happens when you do. You know, you keep proverbially shooting yourself in the foot. You keep doing stuff that lands you over and over and over in jail. Stop. Life is not about sitting in a 6x9 not eating McDonald's, Burger King. You know, I really like those fruit tarts from Madeleine. They're killer, man. That's what life's about. Get on.
Guys, what did he just say? A fruit tart from Ladolin? Ladolin? What's that? What is it? Someone help me. Hi, legal.
Move on with your business.
Ladolin.
Take care of it. And then be safe.
Were you the one who gave me the waiver to sign?
No, Judge, it was at magistrate court.
And I didn't have an attorney at the time, and you're telling me now that I can't rescind my waiver?
I'm not going to grant it. No.
Wow. Okay, I guess.
I want you to get on with your life.
I gotta wait, man. There's no way I can appeal that.
If I rescind this, you're going to get another parole hold. You're going to sit for another 90 days. I'm not going to do that. It's nonsensical.
Yes, I'm on parole to 2035. There's nothing that I can do about that.
If you sit here and wait till 2035, those Kentucky charges will sit with you. And then you're going to have to, in 2035, get on to Kentucky. You want to do that?
I don't mind.
Not smart, dude. Then you're going to be sit there forever in jail. Get that Kentucky stuff done. Perhaps by 2035, you're done with everything. All right.
Judge, a couple of things. So I just want to talk to the judge about anything else, or are we good?
Is there any way that I can appeal this process?
No.
I think we talked
Is
about
there
that.
any way I can challenge it?
I think we talked about that. I think you're gonna fire me. Do you want to fire me?
How am I gonna fire you? They gonna come pick me up and
No, I just want to know if you have any concerns about that. Now, here is the time, because I can't fire myself. Do you want to? or
I'm not taking her off your case. If you want,
I already knew that.
if you want a different lawyer, you're welcome to hire one. But what I would say, if you're going to do something like that, get yourself a lawyer for the Kentucky case, because that's what you really need to fight. Because if you can get all that stuff taken care of in a good manner, I bet you that they would keep you on parole so that you can get out and live your life. They'll reinstate your parole if all that stuff goes away. Here, in this case, you were correct. They filed the dismissal because they couldn't prove that you had a gun. So you were right here. If you're right in the Kentucky case and you can show it, they'll put you back on parole so you can get out, get on with your life. That's what needs to happen. And that's where your focus needs to be, on fighting Kentucky, not this stupid shisa here, because you'll be gone in 5 to 6 days. Focus your energy, your power on Kentucky.
I have no choice.
All right,
Your Honor.
Mr. Davis, best of luck, you bud, okay?
Yes, sir.
Victor, right? Yeah.
So does that mean Scheisse means poop? Is that what it means? Yeah, I think it means poop, because he just said, then, you know, all the Scheisse here. Fozzie will know.
El traductor va a traducir todo.
Good morning, Mr. Amaya Rivera. So you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. You guys have worked out an agreement. They're all get 3 days in jail, credit for the 1 day that you've done. You are now entering into a deal, sir, that this charge will go on your record. It will be there for the rest of your life. If you were ever pulled over, an officer, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to look up your record. If they see that you have a prior DWI, they go to your window and they smell alcohol. What do you think they're going to do to you? How?
Because of the alcohol?
Correct.
Yes.
How are they going to punish you? What are they going to do to you?
Yeah.
Correct. And what we're doing today is
That's the translator, Luis.
slap on the wrist. Will not happen again. From now on, you will be facing a minimum of 30 days in jail. So if I were you, I would never get in a car, even if you've had 1 beer, because if you get pulled over, they will charge you with a second offense. Do you understand? You're giving up the right to a
I'm
trial,
going to.
right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you are not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, you can never change this or undo this. Do you understand?
Yes.
How do you plead to the offense, guilty or not guilty? I will find you guilty. I'm going to suspend your license for 90 days. Do not drive until you get a license. Otherwise, you will be back here. Mr. Amaya Rivera, you ever pick up another one, you will be doing a lot of time in jail. And if you're not here with permission of this country, you're going to be in jail for 6 to 9 months. So be very careful. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Victor. Just be careful.
Sure. I appreciate that.
All right, good morning, Mr. West.
Mr. White.
Mr. White, I don't know why I keep saying that. Good morning, Mr. White. So, sir, you have with us the assault. You also have the evading arrest. Tell me, what are we doing?
My understanding is that we're dismissing the new assault and that he's doing time served on
The gun case?
I believe it's an evading.
Yeah, you're right. It's an evading, correct, right. So, Mr. White, you're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with evading arrest. You're also charged with assault of a family member. Both of those are Class A misdemeanors. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. You've worked out an agreement, a very great agreement where they're going to dismiss the assault in exchange for your plea on the evading. Understand that the evading is an enhanceable offense. This one will go on your record. If you ever run from the cops again, evade, you will be looking at another felony charge. And with all your priors, they can continue to enhance you probably to a 3rd degree, probably to a 2nd degree. Just running from the cops, you could be looking at up to 20 years in prison. You understand?
Yes, sir.
You give up a lot of rights by entering into this agreement. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. So once you accept this agreement today, you can never come back and change this or undo this.
Yes, sir.
Is this what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
How do you plead to the offense of evading arrest? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
I will find you guilty, sentence you to 16 days in jail. I will give you credit for the 16 days that you've done. I will roll your court costs so you won't owe anything. And good luck to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks, Josh. Take care. You too. Need the cause number again. Or do you guys have the cause number handy by chance? No, no one.
252035. Sorry, I think
Right.
that's even his.
Good job.
I might put
That's
the
it.
wrong.
Did you get it, Victoria? Okay. Tracy? Okay. All right, Mr. Hinojosa. You were charged with driving while intoxicated. You're also charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. On the DWI, you're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. On the gun case, you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present during any questions and interviews with the state of Texas. If you cannot afford a lawyer will be appointed to represent you, sir. Okay.
On July 15th, 2024, the officers observed the defendant get in the driver's seat of a vehicle along with 3 passengers. The defendant was observed to drive out and exit the parking lot of a bar without signaling his turn. Defendant began traveling eastbound on the 53rd 100th block of Washington Avenue. Officers were assisted by 59 Fox, who advised they had eyes on the vehicle and stated the defendant was driving at a high rate of speed, weaving through traffic on Washington Avenue. Officers attempted to conduct a traffic stop. A vehicle pursuit ensued. Officers attempted to stop the vehicle as as it was stopped behind a stalled train and the defendant's vehicle fled. The defendant continued evading from officers at a high rate of speed that reached 80 miles per hour. The vehicle lost control and pursuing units boxed in the vehicle and began giving verbal commands. The total pursuit was about 3 miles. And upon inventorying the defendant's vehicle, officers located a Glock 2340 caliber loaded in plain view on the floorboard of the passenger side. The firearm was loaded with an extended magazine and was loaded with 1 round in the chamber. The firearm was not in a holster. Officers spoke with the defendant and observed a strong odor of alcohol on the breath, slurred speech, and glossy eyes. Standard field sobriety test was conducted. HGN was a 6 of 6, walk and turn was a 6 of 8, and the 1 leg stand was a 2 of 4. DIC was read, breath was refused, and a blood warrant was executed and blood was drawn.
What about the second evading? Because he's charged with 2 counts of evading.
The second arrives out of this incident, and then the first was from the day before, and I can read pieces.
The day before he evaded, they didn't catch him. That's why the Flock 59 helicopter was following him, because they knew he was going to evade again.
Got it. All right, Mr. Hinojosa, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go.
They had a helicopter following him. Why? I mean, that was the first charge of evading, or maybe they had the helicopter after that. But they had a helicopter following him.
Forward with the case. Do you have a Texas driver license? Do you have a driver's license? Then you are not allowed to drive. You will be signing an affidavit with me today, promising me you're not going to drive. I don't care what's going on in your life. I don't care what you need. I don't care if there's a little kitten that needs to go to the hospital. You drive, I will have a contempt hearing. You'll be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you get into a car and drive. Do you understand?
Sure.
I'm ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs, and I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you consume alcohol and kind of dope, likewise, you will go to jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. I'm going to tell you now, I will do everything in my power to protect every single person of Harris County. And if that means making your bonds 30 to 50,000, I'll do it in a heartbeat. Do you understand? All I want are my streets to be safe. Every day, someone dies from a boneheaded move that they get into a car and drive like a complete. If you don't believe me, watch the news. Every single day. I'm not going to allow it on my watch. Do you understand?
Sure.
Mr. Morgan, who is in the 337th?
Judge Guido.
What conditions do they have on you upstairs in the felony court, Mr. Hinojosa?
Breathalyzer machine.
Do you have a portable device? What else are your conditions?
Curfew.
Oh, is it the first or the second one that you're looking at? I was looking at the first one.
I would be very careful and I would adhere to those conditions. Because when you don't, all that happens are your bonds get revoked, they get doubled, they get tripled, and all you do is enrich bonding companies to try to get out. You are expected to live in a certain fashion, in a certain way. And when you don't, we have 6x9s ready for you. People say that there's a lot of overcrowding. It's not. There's room. But don't give them an excuse. Follow these conditions. Do you understand? You have a lawyer. It's your responsibility to stay in touch with Mr. Morgan. If he comes back to me and tells me that you're playing games, that you're not responding to phone calls, text messages, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. So, no dope, no alcohol, no driving, and stay in contact with Mr. Morgan. Do you have any questions? Okay, we'll have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. After that, we'll get you to Victoria, and then after that, you'll get with Tracy for bond commission.
Thank you. Judge.
Thank you. Who do we have here?
Mr. Victor Sanchez.
Yes, sir. All right. Good morning, Mr. Sanchez.
Morning, sir.
Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. Second offense, you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. You guys have worked out an agreement where they're offering you 180 days in jail to be probated for 15 months. As part of that, you will do a repeat offender DWI education class, 2 victim impact panels. You will do a TRAS, which is an evaluation to see what.
I don't need to hear any other ones. That's the one I'm going to use on Monday when he's back. That's the one I'm going to use. Michael, you're brilliant. Brilliant.
Other conditions you may need. If they assess other conditions like outpatient treatment of some sort, whether it's standard or whether it's high outpatient treatment, you must fulfill those conditions as well. You will do substance abuse treatment, no drugs, no alcohol. You must have a guardian interlock and no breath test refusal, meaning that if you were in a car pulled over and an officer asks you to submit a breath sample, you must do it. You understand?
Sure.
As part of this agreement, well, this is also a DWI second. I am going to suspend your license for a year because it's a second offense. You now have 2 DWIs on your record. How old are you? 27, 28?
33.
33 years old. And you now have 2 DWIs. What happens on your next one?
Felony, prison, 2 to 10, second degree.
That's right. All that has to happen is that you have the smell of alcohol. They don't care if you're drunk. They don't care if you're high. The smell alone will be enough for them to take you out and charge you with a felony offense. Have you been to prison before?
Yes, sir.
Great. Now you're looking at a 15 to life. You've been to prison 2 times.
Yes.
You'll be a true habitual. 25 to life. You pick up another DWI. 25 minimum if you pick up another DWI.
Yes, sir.
And all that has to happen, the smell. Just the faintest smell of alcohol, you're looking at a minimum of 25 years. If I were you, I would never, ever get in a car, even if you've had half of a sip of a beer, because you're looking at a boatload of time. And I'm telling you now, you pick up a true habitual case, the minimum offer starts at 30 years. It's not worth it. Do you understand?
Sure.
For $15, 1 click will get you anywhere you want to go in this city. No matter where you want to go. You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you are not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. So once you accept this agreement, you can never come back. Don't matter how much you're kicking, screaming, I don't want to go to prison. Why? Once you plead guilty, you can never change this. You understand?
Sir.
Don't get into a car if you've had even the slightest thing. How do you plead to the offense, sir?
Guilty.
I will find you guilty. I will follow the agreement. Was there an accident in this case?
Yes, sir.
Is there any restitution that is owed? Who was the accident with? What does he have now as far as, and does he have a portable device and interlock? What does he have?
He has a portable device, Judge, because his license is suspended.
Okay.
He might apply for an occupational license. That has $3.
You have 3 kids?
I have 3 daughters, and I'm raising them myself for 4 years, going to 5 years. And
where's mom?
She's out there in the streets in the north side somewhere. I don't know. We don't
How old are
communicate.
your kids?
12, 9, and 5.
So what happens if you go to prison for 20 years if you pick up another DWI? Who's going to raise those girls? The first thing you should have in your mind, anytime you go out with friends, with family, if you go to a restaurant where you start drinking, the first thing you should always have in your mind are your children, because your children should guide your decisions. You know, when you're single, great. You can do whatever you want. You can go wherever you want. When you get married, your life is about your wife and how to make her life or his better.
Yeah.
When you have children, your life is all but gone. Your life should be about your children and nothing else, because how you raise those kids, how you show them how you are, those kids will turn how you are. If you are a knucklehead out there where you're constantly going to jail, those kids will be like that. If you beat those kids into submission, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to think it's okay to beat their kids.
I agree. I agree. Yeah.
And if you have a drug or alcohol problem and they see you mucked up at home, lit, they're going to be the same way. And if you think your life is hard now, just wait till those girls turn to 18 and they start living like you're living now. You think life's hard now. You think life sucks. I'm telling you, those girls will emulate their father. They will emulate their mother. And if they see her on the street, if they see you on the street acting like a fool, they will be the exact same way. And I'm telling you, they can make your life a living hell. So how you treat them now will how they're going to turn out in 10 years, in 15 years. Treat them well, treat them with love, treat them with respect. Otherwise, it's going to be a really rough ride for you for the next 20 years. So that's why I'm saying, wait till they go to bed and don't go out.
I do. I don't go out no more. I just work and just be with my kids for the last 4 or 5 years. I don't go out as much anymore. I know
You
that
still
coming
have
with
this.
that. I know that, but I don't go as much out or do anything anymore. Even before I even had that, it's always been with my kids. I just caught me on the wrong time in the story. But either way, they messed up on
If
that.
you go to jail, if you go to prison, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to raise your daughters for you that I bet you're not going to like. Even if they go with your mom, they go with your dad, in the back of their mind, oh, my mom's on the street, my dad's in prison, I'm going to go muck it up. I promise you. Be careful, Mr. Sanchez.
Yes, sir.
All right. Cut his fees, please.
And so is that a portable device?
Yeah, he's got a portable device. I'm taking the money off. I don't care about the money. My main concern is that you don't use. And I'm going to tell you now, if I find that you do, I will put you in a rehab facility in the jail. You cannot drink. You cannot use dope. You test positive for one thing. I don't care what it is. You can't use THC. You cannot use gummies. You cannot use anything that has weed in it. You cannot use alcohol. If I find that you do, I promise you, I'm going to put you in a rehab facility. And it's a minimum of 9 months, depending on how well you respond to treatment. The idea is that you learn from this mistake so that you don't endanger yourself and, more importantly, danger someone else. You understand?
Sure.
All right. How do you plead to the offense? Guilty or not guilty? I will find you guilty. Follow the agreement. Good luck to you, Mr. Sanchez.
Thank you.
All right. Yes. Thank you.
All right, guys, that was all the Fleischer that we missed on that day on this stream. I mean, a lot of us were in the regular courtroom, but hold 1 second. Okay. We went through the roller coaster. She looks like she's on a green screen too. I don't know who said that, but now that you said that, I can't stop looking at the green screen over here. It's not a green screen though. Guys, thank you so much for coming out today. I really, 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 really appreciate it. We only have one more sleep before Judge Fleischer comes back. One more sleep, guys. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. Linus, ikaw banyaw. I do, though. I do. I really appreciate you guys coming out. Fozzie, I appreciate you. You didn't hear me at the beginning. Oh, I'm getting mucked up. I'm getting mucked up this weekend. I work, so I'm really not getting mucked up. But in my head, it's the weekend. Why are you laughing? I did it right. Google said so. Thank you for speaking all of the different languages in chat today. I don't drive. I have 3 kids. I don't have to drive. I just get to drink now. I did all the hard work raising them. Now they can drive me when I drink. Aw, Linus loves me. All right, guys, be good. And I work a double today, so but I'll have something ready for tomorrow. I usually get there. It's rough. Saturdays are the roughest for me. I know it's what's Saturday now, so Sunday stream is the roughest for me, but I'm gonna get there. I always do. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good day, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Got these lights that goes digital dreams. Through the screen, her blue eyes gleam. Wicked humor, sharp as a knife. Her stream sparks electric light. Late night when the world sleeps, she's the friend that always keeps. Giggles roll like thunder loud. She stands out in any crowd. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm. Freedom tales waiting to the night. Her laughter feels just right. Even when my world turns gray, with a giggle, she lights the way. Her eyes mirror sky so blue. In her jokes, there's a truth so true. With each stream, she brings the light. Turns dark days into bright. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm. Streaming tales waiting to the night. Her laughter feels just right. Even when my world turns gray, with a giggle, she lights the way. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm.